Stop doing this if you want to achieve true peace of mind. The biggest mistake most people make is letting negative thoughts take control, and it's destroying your happiness. Hey, have you ever found yourself spiraling into a pit of negativity? And no matter what you do, you can't seem to pull yourself out. Yeah, we've all been there. But what if I told you there's a way to break free? A way to take back control and eliminate those thoughts that keep dragging you down. Today, we're diving deep into 7 negative thoughts that are weakening you. And trust me, you'll want to get rid of them immediately. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's unpack these one by one. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these toxic thought patterns, but also have actionable steps to kick them out of your life for good. 1. Anticipating the worst. All right, first up, the big one, that constant dread of the future. You know what I'm talking about when you catch yourself predicting the absolute worst-case scenario. Whether it's a job interview, a relationship, or even something as simple as tomorrow's weather, your brain starts playing disaster movies in HD. But here's the kicker. None of those things have even happened yet. You're literally torturing yourself over a future that doesn't exist. Think about it. How many times have you worried yourself sick about something only for it to turn out fine? It's like being your own worst enemy, constantly feeding yourself worst-case scenarios that never even come close to happening. It's exhausting, right? The Stoics, ancient as they were, had it all figured out. They taught that anticipating the future, especially with fear, is a recipe for suffering. Think about it. You're building up anxiety over something completely imaginary. It's time to hit the pause button. Next time your mind drifts to what could go wrong, take a deep breath. Focus on the now, and remind yourself that the present is the only reality. The future? It's just a collection of what-ifs. What if you decided, just for today, to trust that things will work out, to let go of the need to control every little detail? After all, the future is beyond our grasp, but the present is right here, ready for you to shape it. And trust me, it's not about ignoring the future or being careless. It's about not letting your mind drag you through an endless loop of anxiety. Because here's the truth, no amount of worry has ever changed the outcome of a situation. But what it can do is rob you of the peace and clarity you need to navigate the present. So, next time you feel that wave of dread coming on, try this, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you're equipped to handle whatever comes your way. You've done it before, and you'll do it again. 2. Clinging to past mistakes. Now, let's rewind a bit. How many times have you replayed that one embarrassing moment from high school? Or that job you didn't get? It's like your brain has a greatest hits album of all your screw-ups on repeat. And here's the brutal truth. Living in the past is one of the most dangerous things you can do. Not only does it keep you anchored in regret, but it also steals your ability to move forward. We've all done things we're not proud of. Maybe you said something you wish you could take back, or you missed out on an opportunity because of fear. It's natural to feel regret, but there's a fine line between learning from the past and being trapped by it. The Stoics had a saying, the past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Yeah, you messed up. So what? Every mistake is just another step on the ladder. Use it, learn from it, but don't live in it. The past is gone, and you've got better things to do. Think about it like this. The more time you spend looking back, the less time you have to look forward. And honestly, what's done is done. You can't change the past, but you can change how you let it affect your present and future. Imagine if you could take all that energy you waste on regret and channel it into something positive. What could you achieve then? And here's a little exercise for you. Next time you find yourself dwelling on a past mistake, pause and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow? By shifting your focus from regret to growth, you start reclaiming your power. The past no longer controls you. Instead, it becomes a tool for your personal evolution. 3. The fear of uncertainty. Let's talk about uncertainty. This one's a doozy because it's basically fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, and that scares you. But think about this for a second. Isn't uncertainty what makes life exciting? If you knew exactly what was going to happen every day, wouldn't that get really boring? According to the Stoic principles, embracing uncertainty is key to mastering your mind. They believe that trying to control every little thing is not only impossible but unnecessary. Instead, focus on what you can control, your reactions, your mindset, your actions. The rest, let it be. After all, as Werner Heisenberg, the father of quantum mechanics, showed us, uncertainty isn't just a part of life, it's the very fabric of reality. So stop stressing about what you can't control and start embracing the chaos. Let's face it, uncertainty is inevitable. Whether it's waiting for the results of a medical test, the outcome of a job interview, or even just what tomorrow will bring, we're constantly surrounded by the unknown. And while that can be terrifying, it can also be liberating. Imagine if, instead of fearing the unknown, you started seeing it as a blank canvas, a space full of potential where anything could happen. That's the mindset the Stoics cultivated, and it's one that can transform your life. Think about it. When you let go of the need to control everything, you free yourself from the chains of anxiety. You start to see life as it is, unpredictable, yes, but also full of opportunities and surprises. And the best part, when you stop trying to predict every little detail, you open yourself up to experiences you might have otherwise missed. So next time you're faced with uncertainty, try this. Instead of resisting it, lean into it. Embrace the fact that you don't know what's going to happen. And that's okay. Trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. 4. Constant worry about what others think. Okay, real talk. How often do you find yourself worrying about what other people think of you? Whether it's that awkward conversation with a colleague or a new post on social media, we all fall into the trap of caring way too much about others' opinions. But here's the deal. Their opinions don't define you. Let's break this down. When you worry about what others think, you're essentially giving them control over your life. You're letting their thoughts dictate your actions, your decisions, and even your self-worth. But here's a little secret. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to spend much time judging you. And even if they do, their opinions are based on their own insecurities and biases. In other words, they're not the gospel truth. The Stoics were all about self-governance. They knew that you can't control what others think, but you can control how much you let it affect you. What matters is what you think, how you feel, and what you do. So next time you catch yourself stressing over someone's judgment, remind yourself that their opinion is just that, an opinion, not a fact. And here's something else to consider. When you let go of the need for approval, you start living more authentically. You stop doing things just to impress others and start doing what truly makes you happy. That's a game changer, right? So the next time you find yourself worrying about what others might think, take a step back and ask yourself, whose life are you living, theirs or yours? 5. Letting stress dominate your life. Stress. We all know it, we all feel it, and some of us are drowning in it. But here's a fun fact. Stress isn't actually a bad thing. It's our body's way of preparing us to face challenges. The problem arises when we let it take over, when we let it fester and morph into something much darker, anxiety, depression, even physical illness. It's important to remember that stress is a natural part of life. In fact, a little bit of stress can be good for you. It keeps you alert, focused, and ready to take on whatever comes your way. But when stress becomes chronic, when it's always there lurking in the background, that's when it becomes a problem. The Stoics viewed stress as a signal, a wake-up call to take action or to reevaluate our approach. Instead of letting stress dominate, use it as a tool. Recognize it, address what's causing it, and take steps to manage it. And remember, not everything in life is under your control. Focus on what you can change and let go of the rest. Stress is a part of life, but it doesn't have to be your life. Let's break this down a bit. Think about a time when you felt completely overwhelmed by stress. What was going through your mind? Chances are your thoughts were racing, your heart was pounding, and it felt like the world was closing in on you. It's in those moments that it's easy to feel helpless, like stress has you in a chokehold. But here's the thing, you're not powerless. One of the most powerful tools you have in managing stress is your breath. It sounds simple, but taking a few deep breaths can help reset your nervous system and bring you back to the present moment. And when you're in the present, you're not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. You're just here, right now, dealing with what's in front of you. And here's another tip. Try reframing your thoughts. Instead of thinking of stress as this horrible thing that's ruining your life, start seeing it as a challenge. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from it? When you shift your perspective, stress becomes less of a burden and more of an opportunity for growth. 6. The allure of negativity. Let's get real for a moment. Sometimes, negativity is just plain addictive. It's like junk food for your brain. Feels good in the moment, but leaves you feeling awful afterward. You start with one negative thought, and before you know it, you're knee-deep in a full-on negativity binge. Negativity has a sneaky way of creeping into our minds and setting up camp. It starts small. Maybe you're having a bad day, and before you know it, you're questioning everything about your life. It's a downward spiral that's hard to escape. But here's the thing, negativity is a choice. Sure, it might not always feel like it, but every time you let a negative thought in, you're giving it power. Think about it. Why do we give so much weight to negative thoughts? Why do we let them take up so much space in our minds? The truth is, our brains are wired to pay more attention to the negative. It's a survival mechanism designed to keep us safe from danger. But in today's world, where most of our dangers are imagined, this tendency does more harm than good. Instead of feeding your mind with negativity, try this, challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Am I seeing the full picture? Most of the time, you'll find that your negative thoughts are based on fear, not fact. By questioning them, you start to take back control. And here's a little exercise you can try. Next time you catch yourself in a negative thought spiral, pause and take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a smile from a stranger. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity, and the more you practice it, the less room negativity will have in your life. 7. Avoidance and procrastination. Last but definitely not least, let's talk about avoidance. You know, that little voice that says, "I'll deal with it later." Procrastination is just a fancy word for running away from problems. And guess what? It only makes things worse. We've all been there. You have something important to do, but instead of tackling it head on, you find yourself doing everything else but that task. Maybe you clean the house, scroll through social media, or even take a nap. Anything to avoid what you need to do. But here's the kicker. The more you avoid it, the bigger and scarier it becomes in your mind. The Stoics were all about facing challenges head on. They believed that avoiding problems doesn't make them go away, it just gives them more time to grow. So the next time you're tempted to push something to tomorrow, stop and think, what would happen if I just dealt with it right now? The answer might surprise you. Think about it like this. Procrastination is like a snowball rolling down a hill. The longer you wait, the bigger it gets, and the harder it is to stop. But here's the good news. You can break the cycle. Start by taking small steps. If a task feels overwhelming, break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Everyone procrastinates from time to time, but it doesn't have to define you. And here's a little trick. Next time you're tempted to procrastinate, set a timer for 10 minutes and start working on the task you're avoiding. Chances are, once you get started, you'll find it's not as bad as you thought. And even if you only work for those 10 minutes, you've still made progress. And there you have it. 7 negative thoughts that are weakening you every day. But now that you know what they are, you can start taking steps to eliminate them. It's not going to happen overnight, but with a little bit of effort and a whole lot of Stoic wisdom, you can start living a life that's not just free from negativity, but full of peace and purpose. So, which of these negative thoughts are you going to work on first? Drop a comment below, and let's get a conversation started. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need a little Stoic wisdom in their life. See you in the next video, and remember, the only thing standing between you and happiness is your own mind. So, let's make sure it's on your side. This version is 3 times longer, expanding on each section with more detail, examples, and actionable advice while maintaining the engaging tone and flow.